So, what's the real difference between someone who's good at what they do and someone who's truly great? It's not just about working harder. Today, we're diving into what's called strategic decision mastery to really understand how elite performers think.
I mean, this is the question we all want the answer to, right? Whether it's in sports, in business, or really any competitive field. What is that secret sauce? What is it that lets some people consistently leave everyone else in the dust?
Well, the first answer that usually comes to mind is just work harder. Put in more hours, just grind it out. But if you've ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels no matter how hard you push, then you already know that pure effort, well, it isn't the whole story. There's a much smarter way to get ahead. And that leads us right into our first big idea. The real foundation of outperformance isn't about separating your thinking from your doing. Nope. It's about integrating them, weaving them together into one seamless, powerful process. At the very core of this whole approach is this one powerful mantra: win over decision making. It's such a simple idea, but it's pretty profound when you think about it. Success isn't just about the things you do. It's about the quality of the choices that led you to do those things in the first place. So, what does this integration actually look like? Well, it's all about collapsing the space between thinking and doing. So instead of, making a plan and then executing it, you're combining them into one fluid motion. Your strategic choices and your actions become totally inseparable. And let's be clear, this is not some fringe theory or some weird new age idea. In super high stakes fields like strategic management, this is how things are done. This integrated approach, it's the norm. It's the standard operating procedure for anyone playing at the highest level. Okay, so if the world's best performers all operate this way, why don't we all just do it? That question right there brings us to the most critical piece of this puzzle, the internal obstacles that get in our way. Let's talk about the mind's hidden traps. It's a really fair question, isn't it? If we know that blending thought and action is the key, why is it so hard? What is holding us back from getting to that next level of performance? Well, as it turns out, the problem isn't out there. It's in here, inside our own heads. The main culprit here is something called cognitive biases. You've probably heard of them. Think of things like confirmation bias, right? That's where we subconsciously look for info that just confirms what we already believe. Or the anchoring effect, where we get stuck on the very first piece of information we hear. These little mental shortcuts are quietly shaping every single choice we make, and we often don't even realize it's happening. Now, this is where things get really interesting. The whole framework suggests that we shouldn't just be trying to fight against these biases. Instead, it gives us a completely new way to think strategically about them, totally changing our relationship with these mental traps. And here is the big shift in perspective. Most of the advice you hear tells you to spot your biases and then avoid them, to fight against them. But honestly, that's a constant, exhausting battle. The approach we're looking at today says that just trying to avoid them is kind of missing the point. So instead of trying to have a head-on collision with your own brain, this approach offers, and I'm quoting here, different ways of thinking about these biases. It's about shifting your perspective. You're moving from fighting your own mind to being more strategic and aware of how it works. This process is laid out perfectly here. Step 1, just acknowledge the bias. So let's say you realize you're falling for confirmation bias in a hiring decision, and you're really favoring one candidate. Okay, step 2, reframe it. Instead of just listing all the reasons to hire them, you force yourself to come up with 3 solid reasons not to. Then, and only then, do you move to step 3, act strategically, because now you're armed with a much clearer, more complete picture. So let's just pull all of this together. What are the key things to remember? First, real success means integrating your decisions with your performance. Second, this isn't a secret, it's the standard for top performers. Third, those hidden cognitive biases we talked about can seriously sabotage you. And finally, real mastery comes from rethinking and reframing these biases, not just trying to fight them off. So the single most crucial point, the one thing to really let sink in, is this. Becoming a master of your craft, whatever that craft is ultimately about becoming a master of your own thinking process. Your internal world literally creates your external results. And that leaves us with one last question for you to carry with you. As you go through your day, just think about the choices you make, the big ones and the small ones, and ask yourself, which of these decisions are truly, consciously my own? And which ones might be shaped by those hidden mental traps we just talked about? It's a powerful thought to sit with.